to be the guy that the Ultimate Warrior came back and faced in his debut match.
Warrior's opponent is rising star Hunter Hearst Helmsley, better known today as Triple H.
Mixed emotions, because when I finally got to the arena that day, I got to find out how big of a one the Ultimate Warrior really is. Probably one of the most unprofessional guys I've ever stepped into the ring with. That day I went in the ring at WrestleMania, and I stood in front of a sold-out Anaheim pond, and I did what I had to do, and I wrestled the Ultimate Warrior to the best of my ability.
He basically sold nothing.
Hunter Reed coming right about. Yeah, it's over!
Took Triple H's finish and stood right back up and looked at him. Just trashed him, just destroyed him, because he was the Warrior and he was the most important thing in the world.
On his chest, yeah!
The pop was huge, but only for a few weeks. When the 1996 WWF fan saw the guy that he remembered as being the big star from 1990, really wasn't as good as I remember him, because things had changed.
You know, looking back on it, I always think it was an exciting match for me because it was against a huge star in the business, and it was the Ultimate show. It was my first time there, and it was great on one hand, but he ruined the experience for me on the other hand.
How you guys doing? So I am an 80s kid, and I grew up in that era, and I have been in and out of martial arts since I was since 1993. I was very expected to become some kind of great stunt man or some kind of great like co-action star. I was freakishly athletic, was freakishly tall for my age. I am the great-great-grand nephew of Thomas H. Meek, and you can look at his eulogy or Wikipedia, okay, and you know, at the very bottom it says he was a professional wrestler. I don't know if you can see that, in the 1960s and the 70s. I don't know too much about my uncle because before my family disbanded and all sorts of other Cryua River shit, I was attempted to be raised super religious, Pentecostal. My family did not want me to know about my uncle because they were scared of me trying to become a professional wrestler. I was already 5'10" at 12 years old. I'm sorry, 5'11", whatever. I was already too tall for certain little kiddie slides and stuff at some field trip in like first or second grade. When I was in kindergarten, they told me that I was the size of a fourth grader. I don't want to keep boring you. You get the point. In sixth grade, I was the tallest person, even over the teachers in the entire school. Okay. I trained on and off. I took classes here and there whenever I had a car to drive out to Jesse Hernandez School of Hard Knocks. And God bless him, I really like that guy. My very first class was at Big Bill Anderson's when he was running IWC, Independent Wrestling Council, before he moved to Arizona. I was told that I could sell extremely well, and you get the point. So I don't even want to. You get the point. The moral of the story is, I want to give you a perspective from us 80s kids and the Ultimate Warrior. Now, you could call me a mark. You could possibly not believe I'm half as athletic still as I was back then. Just want to give you guys, through our worldview, our take and our impression of the Ultimate Warrior, being 1980s kids and of that era, okay? Now, mind you, okay, other kids in the hood, some of them were real diehard pro wrestling fans, but me and a few others, we were more Bruce Lee fans. Bruce Lee captivated the screen, the big screen, like nobody's business. And Bruce Lee told us kids that invincibility, the action star, the main character, the ultimate whoop-ass machine, is ripped and leaner and better looking than all the other cast and characters. Okay, that's what our impression was. Okay, and as kids, when we would watch professional wrestling, WWF, back in that time, there were some kids that ate it all up, and they're mimicking the Junkyard Dog or Randy Savage and stuff like that, right? But some of us other kids who were more into action movies, we looked at that pro wrestling era with a little bit of suspicion, because some of the characters were just too silly or too cartoonish to take seriously, and the way that they would stomp with their punches, the way that people would just be open and not even block their face to get a stomp punch, right? And we tried to get on the bandwagon, but me and my little clique, we were more into the action movies and pro wrestling. And I'm sorry to say, but the kids that were into pro wrestling look like they're going to be chubby and fat their whole life. Mommy pinches their cheeks and makes sure they finish all their SpaghettiOs and wipes their ass. And they kind of had a naive outlook on the world. And me and my little clique, we're getting into karate, taekwondo, eventually the wrestling team and whatnot. And we lived in the wrong side of the tracks. So we knew what real fighting looks like. And when we saw the Ultimate Warrior, until we grew out of it, we believed that there must really be superheroes. And the Ultimate Warrior is belligerent and you can barely understand what he says. We just thought that this guy was like, he must have never had a mom and a dad. He never went to school. He never got told to brush his teeth. He was really from somewhere where Conan the Barbarian really existed, and they found this guy somewhere like in a part of the world. Remember, there was no internet back then. We didn't know about the four corners of the globe. That they really found this like ancient gladiator type of man who he's so barbaric that you could barely understand what he says because it's so much testosterone. But whatever he's saying is earth-shatteringly epic and deadly. And his stomp punches, well, he really punches like that because he's a freaking barbarian. And he's brawn over technique. He doesn't need finishing holds. He only knows smash and conquer and prevail. And the testosterone surges. We were like, dude, this guy is like a skyscraping. He's like, if Bruce Lee didn't know how to do graceful kung fu, but he's just a maniacal, like unrelenting machine. In his entrance, his stage presence, and people say that he got gassed out. We thought he was just seething with like homicidal fucking fury, dude. That this guy only lives for nightmarish conquest and to destroy. That's his only motive in life. That's all he knows. And he really like just came from somewhere where like warriors and Nephilim and gladiators and superheroes and Conan the Barbarian really existed. He got us so excited that like things like Conan the Barbarian or certain movies that we saw, that stuff really existed. And he's one of the last remnants of those remaining. And again, his stage presence, his theme song, his entrance, you didn't need a cup of coffee anymore. The Ultimate Warrior made us like we were so hyper and so inspired by that guy to get off our ass and beat the shit out of ourselves that we couldn't sleep for days. Like, we would just be trying to lay in bed and boring ass school tomorrow and our parents telling us we had to do stupid shit. We couldn't concentrate. We couldn't concentrate in school. We would just daydream about the adrenaline rush that this man gave us. And we saw in contrast all the other pro wrestlers. They were fat, they were loppy, they were slow, they had a really big mouth, and the little fat kids of our neighborhoods who were really diehard pro wrestling fans, and they ate all that shit up, they drank the Kool-Aid. Whatever the fuck, like, whimsical ass dialogue other people were talking about, like, in my sector of the world, yeah, Hulk Hogan was cool, but like Macho Man Randy Savage was really freaking cool. The Ultimate Warrior was just on a different level. And he gets accused of not having any wrestling moves. We were like, he's a fucking barbarian that only knows how to smack. Like, he's the kind of person that will go like this with his hands and club you on the back or the back of the head. And that, which would break our hands in real life, which is not a real move like a right cross but it works for him because he's just a maniacal machine of unrelenting fucking rage. That's why he doesn't have finishing holds. That's why when you hit him or you do your finishing move on him, he pops right back up. And I mean, dude, it's probably not healthy for boys. It made us feel like if you just worked out enough and if you were angry enough, you could take all sorts of pain. I've broken so many bones in my body. I remember being in class and the teacher tried to get me to catch 22. Just Google what that means. She was saying I lost my privileges to talk so that I couldn't use the restroom. I couldn't ask to go to the restroom hall pass or whatever. So I stapled a sign that said, "May I use the restroom?" on my head. I remember like scaring other people how much I could headbutt shit like the desk in class, lockers. You don't have to believe me. My fake friend Javi out there, if I ever get a hold of him, if this video goes anywhere, I will pay that greedy son of a bitch so many dollars to attest. He saw me headbutt a fucking payphone and it started spitting out quarters. You don't have to fucking believe me. I understand tall tales. It's not a work, guys. I'm trying to I'm not gonna just sit here and let people do them like that. So I have to be a dick and iterate that where I come from, I don't care, you can put me to the test. I'm still half that athletic. Me and my little clique held ourselves to a higher standard. I know how to do jumping spin kicks. I know how to take bumps. I have a broken Achilles and probably can still do a drop kick. And we used to do these things as pranks, like backyard wrestling, and shock the neighborhood, dude. We used to do April Fool's pranks where we were staging fights in public, and then people threatening to call the cops, we'd run away. And afterwards, we couldn't walk right for like a week because our elbows and knees were black and blue from clotheslining and even what's that? Not the stalling suplex, like snap suplexing each other. on asphalt. I mean, like, maybe the Ultimate Warrior wasn't the yes, he was good for our health. We survived, but we displayed such a maniacal sense of hyperactivity that our parents really tried to make us docile. Like, oh, Jesus doesn't like that. You need to neuter yourself and just sit in the corner and be quiet and wait for the rapture. You're not going to be taken in the rapture if you're so hyper and beating the crap out of yourself all the time. I had to get a hernia surgery at like 6 years old for something I don't even remember, because of the antics of the Warrior. And his detractors are always some fat fucking... Look, man, I went to pro wrestling school and all that. I remember like Frankie Kazarian and what was his other guy's name? Then there was like the Sun Warrior, and I forgot KG Sakota. I could tell those guys were studs. Those guys were extremely athletic, extremely buff, extremely exciting. They were not only great workers, but they were attractions, and they were great athletes simultaneously. And they knew that this was their chance to make a living, to make it big. What I saw from the majority of people attending pro wrestling class was a bunch of sad little fat midgets whose mommy and daddy will let them live at home till they're 50 years old so they could save all their little Walmart and working at Best Buy and GameStop money, their little part-time jobs, on not even gym memberships, but I don't know, spandex and pro wrestling classes and I don't know, cool hairdos or something. And they were this little clique of a bunch of fucking LARPing nerds that like comic books or really, really liked fiction. And they were like whimsical, good shit talkers that could talk some shit, but they would never really fight you because they knew, you could tell that they knew they didn't really have what it takes to be on the high school wrestling team or the football team. They probably never got in a real fight in their life that they were afraid, like a real challenge. They were just these little fucking nerds that they kind of know they're not even 6 feet tall. So Vince McMahon is probably never even going to look at them. And they were really into the male soap opera drama that they call, everybody has their own semantical view of what the art of pro wrestling should be. I can elaborate what mine is, but they were some fucking dorks, yo. And everybody who shits on the Ultimate Warrior fucking reminds me of those little fat kids. And I just want to say, from the perspective of someone who's really athletic and was very promising and who lived in that time with other kids that were more about action movies and were really athletic, and we went on to do crazy. I could still do. How many of you have ever done a jumping, spinning Power Ranger kick in your life, or took a bump or whatever? Dude, I'm sorry. It was really extremely entertaining, and I can still prove it. And that's not a flex. And the cloth of what I'm cut from, we don't care about two fat, fucking bloated ass grown men with their drama and their fucking your fucking wrist holds and sitting there talking shit. We didn't care about that. We cared more about what the F, man. Just look at the Warrior, dude. And if I was making that kind of money, I mean, when we would do our little stunts, man, we would go to pro wrestling school. It would take so much out of us because we had to pull in money. Who has a car? Who has time off? We would learn certain moves, and we come back and shamelessly do it backyard wrestling style to get a rise out of the neighborhood. And where was I going with this? The Ultimate Warrior was just on. Oh yeah, we would have never complained about stiff hits. Now, from what I hear in California, the West Coast, the luchadors are they're not stiff over here. You know why? Because they're so athletic that they prove themselves with the moonsaults, the great lucha libre style wrestling in the West Coast. So they have a soft style here. They even shake each other's hands really softly. I heard from the East Coast, those are more big, buff brawlers. So they're more stiff. We were stiff as it gets. I'm sorry, I respect the job. I know how it is to have whiplash. You won't believe me the injuries I told you that I could still walk with. And I would have, to make that kind of money under that kind of adrenaline and on that kind of spotlight and being able to live your dreams and not work at Walmart or breaking your back in tip agencies, we would have never complained about getting stiff shotted. I've seen fools get pile drived on their head and shit that could have killed each other, like, and I'm saying that, look at Triple H, I guess you're a good wrestler, man. You look like Conan too. I don't care if you're the cerebral assassin and you say whimsical shit to Kurt Angle because I know that it's fiction. I don't really give a fuck. When I was a little kid, though, and I saw The Ultimate Warrior, that made me second guess reality, dude. How the fuck do you produce something like that? And again, the guy made us so hyper and so inspired for days to needlessly hurt ourselves and do push-ups until we vomited, that other people who talk shit on the Warrior, notice it's never women, it's never Vince McMahon himself that shits on the Warrior for supposedly being too stiff or whatever, because he's a great attraction. The chick, your mom, your chick is going like, damn, that's a real man. I'm sorry, I don't mean to sound like Wes Watson and shit, but like, Ultimate Warrior fucking mogged you all. Fuck, dude. And then when Homeboy was 50 years old, okay, he's all making the videos of my friend Steve laughed his ass off when we saw Ultimate Warrior get inducted in the WWE Hall of Fame. Do you know why? Because before the Ultimate Warrior comes out, you have these like shell of old men like, oh, life's really hard and I did a lot of drugs and I partied on the road and you guys don't know how it is. I deal with mental problems. Oh, woe is me. And they were great on the mic. Those guys have no haters. All the fat kids and all the fat, bloated ass fucking pro wrestlers and all whatever, they don't talk shit on them. And then you see the families of those pro wrestlers in this crowd. The wife's like, oh, I'm here with the kids. The kids are all like, yeah, my dad was never there for my quinceañera or my Christmas or birthdays because he was banging whores and smoking dope on the road and shit. And the wife's like, I feel stupid because of all the groupies this guy's banged. And then the Ultimate Warrior gets up there and he can't help but to mog everybody, talking about positivity, how he's never had a drug problem, how he found success outside of pro wrestling, how everybody just, they were wrong, how like, and everybody's just like, fuck yeah, Warrior, Slayer. They might as well have been like, I'm fucking at a Slayer concert, dude. The guy's sheer fucking presence alone. It's just like, you see his wife and his kids in the background, like crying out of happiness and like pride in their dad. And then you have all the fat kids and all the fat little midget LARPing fucking fiction ass consuming shit talking cliques in the fucking independent circuit or even in fucking whatever the fuck pros that can never inspire, most likely never gave a woman the same degrees of orgasmatrons as the fucking Ultimate Warrior, talking shit because they know they have to click together and try to start little fucking rumors and diminish the man because his whole existence mogged the fucking shit out of your fucking fiction, fat fucking walrus ass motherfuckers, fucking obvious fake fighting shit. Now, we're not gonna shit on ECW or FMW. That was fucking badass. Stone Cold was badass. Fucking, we have respect for Brock Lesnar's badass, dude. But I'm sorry, dude. Shawn Michaels, you're fucking fruity. We don't care. Hell in a Cell, like that was pretty badass. Cool. Mick Foley's a cool fucking guy, dude. That shit's Big Show, man. Wow, that dude's big. It's very believable when he choke slams somebody. But none of you motherfuckers will ever again replicate the intensity and the sheer fucking raw adrenaline and testosterone surge. You could call me a mark. You could call me gay. I'm not gonna let you fat fuck shit on the Warrior like that because you're the same fucking bitches who were mad at people like me in school for being a fucking foot taller than you, or you have to drive your daddy's Mustang to high school to pick up chicks and worry about dressing nice, whereas me and my small little clique, who was poor as fuck, wrong side of the tracks, we just had to walk around shirtless and get freaking obvious ogles from like hot 30-year-old women when we were like 16. So you could call that fucking weird or whatever. You can also go fuck yourself. You guys are fat, sad, walrus, midget ass looking fucking LARPers that people, I don't know, man. I don't know who the fuck gets into your like male soap opera dumb shit. I've seceded from that shit. I can actually fight normal people. I'm about 1.5 times stronger than the average man. I have other shit that makes me happy. I just had to stop and say, from a real fucking martial artist point of view, from someone who consumed a higher standard from action movies, like from, Bruce Lee, Sylvester Stallone, and all that kind of, the years of being an impressionable kid from a time of that time. Have you ever seen the documentary Bigger, Stronger, Faster? I'm of that generation, and Hulk Hogan was pretty cool, man. Macho Man Randy Savage is fucking badass, dude. I'm sure if I think hard enough, I can think of some other cool shit. I mean, I honestly liked Bret Hart. He was really cool, and I dug his music and stuff like that, and how he had to use brains and techniques to beat bigger opponents. That shit was cool. None of that is ever going to. There's never going to be another time in this soy boy ass fucking LARPing, constantly gaming, prawn hub, the cliques of the fucking walrus midgets I was talking about. This fucking generation, I'm sorry, there's some cool Zoomers out there. You guys missed out. Everybody, all the influencers that you guys have to watch and consume to get off your ass and quit eating soy or doing no fap or whatever and all this other positive shit. We're sitting here watching poor Zoomers having to be reminded how to be masculine because modern day society tries to make them so docile and shit that you guys missed out. The very sheer presence of the Ultimate Warrior did not have to teach us those fucking things. We got off our ass and almost fucking annihilated ourselves, almost killed ourselves, couldn't concentrate in school, couldn't wait to get the fuck out of work and school to go whoop our asses while everybody else was raising a family or, I don't know, figuring out how to buy golf clubs or trading baseball cards or worrying about what you get the fucking point. We live by a code of we have to kick our ass somehow. We have to learn how to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and headbutt lockers and smash beer cans on our face and And fucking, dude, we needlessly beat the shit out of each other. I talk with a slurry, I'm obviously concussed and stuff. I have a high vocabulary, but I sound like a belligerent moron because people like the Ultimate Warrior inspired us to give ourselves. When I learned what a concussion was, I was like, dude, I get that every Thursday. That's when we would get together, find somewhere to beat each other's ass, like asphalt, scraping our skin off, going back to school, barely being able to walk for days, having the squirt peroxide in our shit that's all bleeding all the time. The teacher thought we were fucking nuts, dude. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, other people, I don't know what they do, man. They play t-ball or something like that. The softball team. Nah, man, we're like fucking martial artists, dude. I can still prove it. So I'm sorry, you LARPing fat soy boys. You might want to start watching The Warrior. Again, The Warrior doesn't need finishing holds. He doesn't need to be a scientific Dean Malenko style wrestler. He's a fucking maniacal barbarian that has so much fucking infused with so much testosterone from the gods that, I mean, he's speaking in fucking demon tongues. You can't even understand what he says, and all these fat fucking nobodies talking shit on a person that could give their woman like billions of times more fucking orgasms. So you can call me gay, you could call me a mark. I'm sorry you don't know what that's about, guys. I used to have abs down to my knees, and I used to rock Cougar's World, like literally clocking in 120 minutes straight of fucking. You don't know what the fuck that's about. The Ultimate Warrior can teach you. I could try to explain, but you're gonna sit there and you're gonna try to get people on your bandwagon to hate on somebody who fucking mogs everything you're about. Your whole fucking ethos, your whole fucking frame, your whole fucking birth, your whole fucking existence is fucking mogged. The Ultimate Warrior mogs the shit out of me. I can't get up 3 o'clock in the morning every day and do like 50 reps per fucking exercise, dude. Those other fat mops talking shit on the Warrior, dude, they do bodybuilding, the kind of bodybuilding where you do like only 6 reps at a time. 50 reps. I'm out, man. I don't even know if it's going to upload a video this long, but I'm sick and tired of hearing people hate on someone just because his whole existence mogs the shit out of everything that you're about. Makes your dad look like a bitch, and makes your mom's panties fucking soaked as fuck. It's fucking deplorable, and you guys who talk shit on the Warrior would get